it would appear from even the experience of the last, say, 6 years, that if you take a look at 2000, we're coming into a recession. 2001 and 2, we do some sort of feel-good tax cuts. And then the first quarter of 2003, we do dividends and capital gains. And almost instantly, you see you go from a barely over 1% GDP jumps to about 4. Unemployment reverses almost overnight to losing 140,000 jobs a month to gaining about 160,000 within a period of a couple of months. And you've got 5 or 6 years of very strong economy, and most interestingly enough for people in government, particularly the people that like to spend government money, the government revenues go up significantly. So here you have a situation where we've actually cut taxes on businesses, or at least made money available to businesses through the dividends capital gains tax cut. And it appears to be paralleling what's gone on in Ireland. You know, the Irish about 15 years, 20 years ago decided to cut their taxes on business to be some of the lowest in the entire European Union. And now everybody in Europe is trying to copy Ireland because the economy is just going like mad. It would seem like what we're talking about here isn't that complicated. What we need to do is to get capital working in small businesses. That seems to be the basic principle. And instead, the Fed keeps cutting interest rates and creating liquidity. The dollar is just going down like a submarine. It seems like we got our hand in the wrong lever. And what we should be doing is, even though it's not very popular, is just do the dividends, capital gains, get the taxes off of business. So that somebody said it's better to tax a peach than to tax a peach tree. It seems like we're just doing it the wrong way. Anybody want to comment?
To comment on your question and the last gentleman's question together, I mean, I agree. We need to lower compliance costs. We need to lower rates. But more importantly, I think when you look at the global economy, we need to do whatever we can to make sure that dollars are invested in the United States of America, because there are a lot of places for investors to put dollars right now. And, you know, we are truly in a global economy when it comes to investment. There are very few barriers to investment flowing to China, to Europe, to other countries. And so we need to look at everything we can do to make sure that investment happens here, and the research and development, the things that give us a competitive advantage. If that money's not spent here, we're going to lose that competitive advantage. And unfortunately, the industry that I work with closely, with the wireless and telecommunications, we're saddled with a lot of tax provisions that still date back to the 1980s. When computers depreciated over 30 years, and we have many, many problems with depreciation schedules, with outdated federal, state, and local tax provisions that increase the cost of investing. When I look at my business and when I look at the data on productivity and what's creating wealth in the United States, it's investments in information technology and communications that are not just helping those industries, but all the other small and large businesses that rely on that innovation, like in my business, to be able to make money, to be able to create jobs, to be able to provide the kind of health insurance and other benefits that we provide for our workers. So I don't know if that necessarily qualifies as thinking outside the box in the way that you are doing, sir, and I appreciate your question. But you know, we have got to get a tax code that, number one, make sure that investment is here and stays here so that our businesses will benefit.
That was my only question, Madam Chair. If somebody else wants to respond, you can.
If I may, I think that the two ideas that you're trying to create is wonderful. If we could create a one-page tax code, one page, we would save so much money in compliance costs and being nervous that the IRS is going to do something to us, and hiring accountants. Right now, I could hire a full person that would make $40-something thousand a year to weld or to design or to engineer, as opposed to paying it to an accountant. It's insane that I'm spending it that way. In China, they don't do that. In France, they don't do that. So we should have a one-page document for our taxes.
Time is expired.